As you wish. Yep, that's right. At number 63 is The Princess Bride. Welcome to Long Play Video. Oh, welcome into Long Play Video. It's a lovely Sunday afternoon, sunny day here. There's no one in the shop because obviously it's a sunny day, so no one bothers with videos. But it's a perfect opportunity to talk about the next in my 100 favorite films of all time, which is a real Saturday afternoon classic. At number 63, I'm going to pass you over the DVD for you to look at. You can tell us what we've got.
All right, let's have a look at this. See what we've got in the store. Oh, the classic that is The Princess Bride. Wow. I mean, this this DVD cover has definitely just been painted by someone. It doesn't look like a photo at all. Oh, wow. It is it painted? It's almost like I feel like it is.
Yeah, no, it's definitely drawn.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
was
'cause
the
I'm like,
last one that we had that someone had?
oh, was it The Fall? Was
No,
it that?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
there was another one where there was one was drawn. Because I was thinking Andre the Giant doesn't look anything like him at all. At least, actually, the three main characters look pretty similar in this drawing, and Andre the Giant looks completely different.
So just
Oh,
it's very
good.
difficult to capture Andre the Giant
Yeah,
in all his
true.
glory, I guess. So
Yeah, you can't like he's so tall that you just can't really see his face. He's just too far away. So, yeah. Heroes, giants, villains, wizards, true love, not just your basic, average, everyday, ordinary, run-of-the-mill ho-hum fairy tale. Wow, that's the front. So yeah, so I guess to describe the front to people that obviously are listening, yeah, it's a drawn a drawn picture at the front with our two swashbuckling heroes and villains. You know, it's I can't really remember who the hero and who the villain is. I feel like they're both sort of heroes. So yeah, I guess it's set in like sort of pirates time. So they're in that sort of attire. They've both got swords. There's a girl with them who's looking scared and also not sure what they're doing, worried about their point in life. And then Andre the Giant
eye
is
lines are all over the place. Who knows what they're actually
yeah.
looking at?
Yeah, true. Yeah, she's like looking into the distance. One of them's looking straight at the screen, or straight forward, and then Andre the Giant is holding up a giant like portcullis, and he's not actually. If you actually look at his hands, he's not actually holding it. He's he's just resting on his hands. He's that strong, and he looks terrified. So. The Princess Bride. What a film. God, when did this come out? It's an old one,
So this
right?
is 1987, which is actually
Yeah.
I think sort of later than
Yeah, later than I
than
would have
you'd imagine.
thought. Yeah, I would have thought this definitely would have been earlier than this. And maybe just because of the feel of it as well.
Yeah.
And it is I'm thinking like I can't really remember too much about this film, but in my mind I'm feeling like it's a fairy tale version of Aeroplane. That's how I'm sort of thinking. So just
I,
loads of gags.
yeah, I don't. It doesn't have quite the gag rate that
No.
that Airplane has. I mean, maybe more of
Uh,
the second half of Airplane that it compares to, rather than the
yeah,
first
okay.
half when they used up all their gags.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. Yeah, interested. So, all right. So tell us about it. Why is it on the list? Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
so
this would have been a good childhood movie.
yeah, so funnily enough, I did watch it when I was a kid, but I didn't remember
Mm,
it at all. All that
yeah.
I had was this memory of watching like a really exciting adventure film
Mm.
where they're sword fighting, and then halfway through, one person says, "Oh, but actually, I'm not left-handed," and then changes to the right hand, and then continues the sword fight. And I remember just
Uh,
thinking like that was the coolest thing ever.
yeah. Yeah.
And I always sort of I into my 20s, I was like, "What? Yeah, that was just so cool." And I could never find it.
Yeah.
And then for some reason I watched this. I think maybe it was on TV or something. Maybe when I was like 23 or 24.
Yeah.
Um, and then like yeah, it came on, and I was like, oh, this is that film, and actually
This is
like
the
watched
one.
it, and I
Yeah.
remember sort of watching it and then just being like, what, what is what has
Yes.
just happened? Like, what? Why is this?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, how is this
Uh,
a film? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like, and then obviously, yeah, sort of, yeah, the fact that it is quite meta. So I went back and watched it a few more times over the
Yeah.
course of a year or so, and I do just think, yeah, it kind of gets better every
Yeah.
time that you watch it, really, because it is kind of, again, I think it's very much like Clueless for me, where it's sort of,
Yeah.
it's an homage, but it's also a bit of a satire.
Yeah.
So Rob Reiner, the director,
Yeah.
also directed This Is Spinal Tap, and I think
Right. Okay.
that's like a, yeah, that's very much sort of, yeah,
Yeah.
where it kind of sits. Funnily enough, as a director, his
Yeah.
run of films at the late 80s, early 90s is Stand By Me,
Yeah.
um,
Great.
classic, yeah, classic, although yeah, not
Yeah.
not a great one for me. The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, and A Few Good Men.
Wow.
That
Wow.
is an eclectic six
It's
run
very
six run movie.
it is very eclectic, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
the Princess Bride versus and then doing like back to back, like a double header with Misery would be an interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Definitely do it the other way round, Misery first. But
Yeah. It done
yeah,
When Harry Met
wow.
Sally, and then just decided to go on to
Yeah.
Misery. So
That's
um
incredible. They are, and they're all really good films.
yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean he's a
Yeah.
he's a good director.
Good. Yeah, I wouldn't have. I would because in like I think we've said this before. In like the 80s and the 90s, you knew directors a bit more, and I feel like we
Yeah.
say like maybe Tarantino is like one of the last ones where you really might go to see a film because he's directing it. I don't remember this guy's name at all, whereas I feel like I should do. Like, and the fact that he's
Yeah.
done those films, he's just slipped me by. Like I would obviously
Yeah.
I've seen pretty much all those films, but I just don't remember his name.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so yeah, this is Spinal Tap, also The American President,
Mm,
which came up obviously a couple of weeks ago,
yeah,
about with Michael J. Fox as well. So
yeah,
yeah, no, he's pretty famous. I mean, especially for Stand By
yeah,
Me, which is sort of
yeah,
a, yeah, seminal movie. And
yeah.
then also so the screenplay and the book is actually written by William Goldman. So
Yeah,
he's the screenwriter of Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid,
yeah,
Marathon Man, All the President's Men. I mean, obviously, All the President's Men is a fantastic script, and really well written.
yeah,
So I actually just recently read the book, um,
yeah,
and in sort of, yeah, in the sort of the style of the film, because obviously this is again another film within a film,
yeah,
because it's actually Columbo. I mean, who doesn't love
yeah.
any film with Columbo in it? And obviously the kid from The Wonder Years. So again,
Oh
just
yeah, Fred
elevates it all.
Savage.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
just the kid from the Wonder Days. I don't think we need to
yeah.
name check him.
Well,
Uh,
it's just when I can remember things is rare. So like if it if it comes to my
Obviously,
mind, I need to share it. Yeah.
if you know the actress who played Winnie, I'll be my hat will come off. But
No, I don't. Yeah. No, you keep that sombrero on. Yeah.
it's a sunny day. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so he wrote the book, and it's funny. So the book is basically about him being a writer of
Mm.
films like Butch Cassidy, but he wants to write this book that his dad used to read to him as a child, but he wants to skip all the boring bits. So like
Okay.
it's like he's
Yeah.
editing the book, and so there is the book, but then there's like his comments about the book. So there'll be like a long passage, a few
Right.
pages, and then it will be like, oh, this actually goes on for another 20 pages, but I cut it out because it's not very
Yeah.
interesting. And there's a lot of walking, which
Yeah.
might be sound familiar in a little while for some of the other films.
Yeah.
So the book is very meta, and again with this, it is obviously very meta. It's the film within a film, but it is
Yeah.
done in kind of in a very silly way. But I think that the great
Yeah.
thing about this, as I say, Sunday afternoon film, like,
Yeah. Definitely.
swashbuckling, sword
Yeah.
fighting, just fun, with
Yeah.
so many quotable lines. Funnily enough, as I left the house today to come to the store,
Yeah.
as I was leaving, my wife said, "Oh, you what podcast are you doing?" I said, "Oh, yeah, we're doing Princess Bride." She said, "Oh, great." Gave her a kiss, and as I was walking away, she said, "Oh, well, have fun storming the castle." and it's just just straight off of the straight
Just
off the
straight
bat.
in. Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. It's funny because I have seen this, but I think like you, I think I saw it when I was young, and I have this vague memory of, as you said, it just being a little bit strange and
Yeah.
thinking, how does this flow and how does this sort of work? So I don't think I've really seen it properly as an adult. So I'm going to be really interested to see like like what if I have the same experience that you had, where you're like, "What is this? This is crazy," but in an enjoyable way. I mean, the cast, you've got some great people in it. I
Yeah.
do remember that the main characters being pretty good, pretty funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's
Andre
going
the
to be
Giant,
interesting.
obviously,
Yeah,
just a classic. Were you ever a
yeah,
WWF fan? You ever
yeah,
what
yeah. I used to watch.
who was your sort of WWF people?
Well, the my sort of era, this is going to show my age too much now. My era was like, I guess it started off the very first early days for me would have been like Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan,
Yeah.
but then went into Bret the Hitman Hart,
Yeah.
although The Undertaker, those classics. Yeah, I remember what was Bret the Hitman's Heart finishing move was like a figure of four or something. It was like, I
Yeah.
mean, wrestling is just, I think it's brilliant. It's such a great thing. Like, I don't watch it now, but uh, I think there was a point when I was younger, people were like, no, 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 it's real. And you kind of get told it's real and you try to believe it. But now we all just know it's not real, it's choreographed. But you're like, wow,
Still, yeah.
if you went and saw this as like a Cirque du Soleil sort of show,
Yeah.
you'd be like, wow, this is incredible. Like, and it is,
Yeah.
it's an incredible performance. It really is. Like some of the things they do are just insane. Like you think about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope people still enjoy it. But yeah, that was my sort of era. What was yours?
Yeah, no, very, yeah. But him and Hart a little bit later as well, not because I'm younger, but because we had Sky later on. So Shawn
Yeah.
Michaels
Oh
as
yeah, I
well.
remember
That
Shawn
was
Michaels. Yeah.
that was good. But yeah, I mean it was
Yeah.
for like 3 or 4 years I was very into it.
Yeah,
Because yeah, it
yeah.
was just it's just a soap opera, isn't it? And it's all the storylines and stuff about who hates
Yeah.
who and who's like betraying who and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, it's quite funny. So yeah, Andre the Giant, obviously, it's
Yeah.
funny because I remember quite vividly, like when you see him next to the
Mm.
like the rest of the cast, he is absolutely huge. And it's like there
Yeah.
were a few times I think, especially where you just like they're in the same shot and you're just like, my goodness, that guy is huge. So
Yeah. Well, because what was he? I'm just having a look. Yeah, he was. Do you know how tall he was?
no, I don't actually.
Oh, 7'4". There you go. Wow.
7 4.
That's very, very tall, isn't it?
Yeah,
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 crazy. Yeah. I do remember him being absolutely terrible, basically being able to speak for the WWF. So I imagine in a movie, he's gonna have very few lines. He's mainly gonna be holding up the drawbridge. He's not gonna be doing much else.
yeah,
Yeah, wow.
yeah. And then yeah, obviously, yeah, Billy Crystal, Mel Smith, uh,
Yeah, yeah, some
Carol Kane, kind of make like
mm,
little sort of cameo appearances.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I definitely haven't seen this for a long, long time.
mm.
So I'm going to be interested to see if I think it holds up. So for you, like so you watched it when you were younger, but you like it now because you watched it when you're older and you just think it's just a great movie, the way they've sort of pulled it together and just the concept of it is just funny.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
just, for me, like I really like completely non-cynical films.
Yeah.
Like almost
Yeah.
for me, this is like the opposite of Shrek. Because I think in Shrek
Yeah.
it sort of makes fun of like fairy tales and like sort of
Yeah.
changes things around, but it does it for me in quite like a sneering way almost, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is just stupid, and so we're gonna like make fun of it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is kind of like Clueless and like Spinal Tap, to be fair, like this is a satire of something, but also a really good version of that thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I think for me, like there's a lot of nostalgia of kind of the swashbuckling sort of adventure
Yeah.
movies that were just on TV on a Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
where it's that there's no sort of rhyme or reason. You don't actually remember the plot, but there's yeah,
Yeah.
there's basically like some guy and he's got a sword and he's rescuing someone. I mean, it's again
Yeah.
the plot was never very complicated, and this
Yeah.
this like sort of it plays with that and it sort of yeah, it kind of makes fun of it a little bit, but always with just a really big smile on its face. And I would sort of
Yeah.
say like this, funnily enough, it also just in kind of tone almost reminds me of like what the Rocky Horror Picture Show became, because you
Mm.
can very
Yeah.
much imagine, and I'm yeah, if they don't, I'm sure that I'm sure they must do like this playing to like a theater where everyone shouts
Yeah.
out the lines and
Yeah.
the audience is just having a good time, and yeah, it's not
Yeah.
serious, it is silly, it's only like an hour and 40 minutes long, and it's
Yeah.
just kind of good natured. And
Yeah.
because
Well, if
it is a kids movie, and I was actually thinking about whether watching it with my daughter. I was trying to think about
yeah.
if there's going to be because it's so silly. I don't think there's
Mm.
any bits that would
Yeah.
spook her, but
I don't think so, from what I can remember. I think you'd be fine. And it's interesting, isn't it? I'd be keen to see what she thinks because, like, I think we discussed this before, that very much now it feels like a kids' movie just is animated. Like there doesn't seem
yeah,
to be much option outside of an animated movie for a kids' movie. So I'd be keen to see if she's actually would sit down and watch all of this or not.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
But I mean,
see if
besides
she's
the
actually keen.
pacifier, obviously, the
Yeah, oh
pacifier
well,
not included,
yeah,
then
definitely not that one.
everything else is just animation. So.
Yeah. So yeah, well, and I didn't realize you had such a hatred of Shrek. So another Twitter feud begins.
We're just doing it for the followers now, just to see who we
Yeah,
can feud with
yeah,
next. I think
yeah.
a Twitter feud with Mike Myers would be one of the most sort of least interesting Twitter feuds of all
It just
time.
it would just destroy us. It'd just be too funny. We'd be like, oh no, we're done. Yeah.
He
Um,
just doesn't care. He's very
no.
much insane.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not even on Twitter now. Like he's just like, no, I don't want to get involved in all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
But as for the person who plays the gingerbread man, God, that guy's just on Twitter all the time.
Get rid of him, yeah. Yeah. And this was good. I've just seen on the back of the DVD cover. So yeah, they said about Billy Crystal being in it, and they're like, if you don't know who Billy Crystal is, they've given you the film that he's in, and he's in Throw Mama from the Train, which I'm like, of all of his films that he's been in, is that the one you go with?
Well, I
Like,
mean,
uh,
this is pre When Harry Met Sally. Maybe, yeah,
yeah,
like,
maybe he hadn't done anything before
yeah,
then. That's the
it was
thing.
it was the winning turn in this that got him that role, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it definitely
Wow.
wasn't. You'll have to, yeah,
No.
we'll have to do a. Do you know who Billy Crystal is? You probably
Yeah,
do, but
yeah,
he's maybe a bit obscure to look like. Yeah,
yeah. Okay, which character he is?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Cool. Well, I'm
yeah.
looking forward to this one.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't, yeah, I think it's just one to put on. It's kind of a different type
Yeah.
of gelato. It's like, as I say, like sunny day, just a
Yeah.
nice Sunday afternoon, get some cinnamon gelato.
Oh, look at
It's
you.
nothing to worry about. I think after,
Yeah.
obviously, like, yeah, there's been a few movies recently that we've had. We've seen The
Yeah.
Dark Side.
Yeah.
We've had the lunchbox and Yojimbo. I think this is again very different tonally to
Yeah.
all of those. So yeah, we'll put it on and yeah, we'll see what you think after the break. Well, as Kev goes and makes himself comfortable for the film, a little prediction. I mean, I think he's going to like this film. How can you not like this film? I think you have to be dead inside to not like this film. Yes, it's silly, but it's also just a fairy tale. It's more of a fairy tale than Bruges, and that's saying something. So yeah, I think he's going to really like it, and yeah, hopefully we'll see after the break.
Delightful. I That's my 1/3 words reaction. Yeah, I loved it. I've obviously seen this before, but couldn't really remember much
Yeah.
about it. In my mind, I didn't want to say anything in the first half, but I felt like I remember my overarching view of this was thinking, oh, I think it's okay, but I think it's a bit dated and it's a bit sloppy and just was a bit, didn't really hold together that well. That was my memory of it. But I
Yeah.
watched it and I was like, actually, no, it's good. It's like the actors are good. It's a well-crafted story. It's good paced. It's fun. I thought it was all really good. Like, yeah, I honestly thought I remember thinking it doesn't really stitch together, but it does stitch together. It's you literally it's stage one to two to three to four. It takes you
Yeah.
like it's perfect. It doesn't even divert off anywhere else. It just keeps following the story. So yeah, I really liked it. I guess
Yeah.
yeah, you liked rewatching it as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's, I was just about to say, oh, well, thanks for coming into Long Play Video. We'll see you next week.
Leave it there. It's never get better than this. It's the best review you'll get of one of your films. Uh,
Yeah, no, it's great, isn't it? And it's funny because yeah, sort of thinking
mm,
back to the book that he reads,
yeah,
that Columbo's actually reading is like I think the title is like just the good bits, and I think that's sort of the
yeah,
almost the funny thing in the film is that like
yeah,
yeah, basically there's no walking, there's no sort
yeah.
of
True.
non-dramatic bits. It's just
Yeah,
the good bits kind of stitched together, which is yeah, which is
yeah,
great. And I think it's brilliant. And the way they sort of I do love it when they sort of go back to Columbo and Fred Savage and like they're having a cup of tea or they're eating their lunch or something like that. And like I think
yeah,
it's like just a really good way to sort of yeah, see the
yeah,
progression. And then yeah, all the
yeah.
actors, I think they take it the right level of serious. And I
Yes,
think that's the thing. Like they're all
yes,
committed to the roles. And
yeah,
so they're taking it seriously, but like they're not taking it almost too seriously. So
yeah,
then like yeah, the sort of
yeah,
the fairy tale side of it actually stands up really
yeah,
well because yeah,
yeah.
it is actually a good film and it's a bit silly and there's some I would say yeah, in a sort of slightly weird film, Peter Cook manages to be weirder than everyone else. I don't really know what that's all
Yeah,
about. But you know,
yeah.
that's been mimicked in, you know, Three Men and a a little lady and
Oh,
wasn't there a Hugh
really?
Grant when there was like yeah,
Was
that
there?
type of character as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, everything else just yeah, it's great.
yeah. I think you're right, and you're right that you're right. Actually, the actors get it just the balance perfect in that they are taking it seriously, but it isn't too far. Where you're like, well, hold on a minute, this is still a silly film, and you're pushing. It just felt correct, right? It felt right. The sword fight was just
Yeah.
brilliant. And it's so good, and it's obviously the first one's what he's waiting at the top of the mountain. He's like, oh, can you hurry up? I don't like waiting around. I'm getting a bit bored. And then they're fighting. He's like, oh, you're pretty good actually. And then he's like, but what you don't know is because they're both fighting left-handed. It's I'm
Yeah.
actually right-handed. And then the other guy goes, what you don't know is I'm actually right-handed. So that was good.
Yeah.
That was funny. That was actually
That's
pretty
why I
well
think I'd
choreographed.
remember yeah, I'd remembered that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is and so funnily enough, I was yeah, listening to a pod and they were saying about in one of the books, they say basically they practiced so much before that that
Oh yeah.
they had like the fight all choreographed and because they got so good that like they did it
Oh
in a minute because they could actually
yeah.
like do it so well. And like
Mm.
apparently the director was like, guys, this is like supposed to be like a 5 minute, 10 minute scene. Like you have to add more stuff in because you're just doing it too
Yeah.
quickly. And so they had
Yeah.
to like yeah, go back and that's when they added in the sort of yeah, the doing the sort of the
I,
flips and stuff like that.
yeah.
Because
Okay.
yeah, otherwise they sort of finished too quickly because they
Yeah.
were just really good at it. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, it is a really, really good sword fight.
Yeah, and I was thinking that because in those times as well, I presume it would be real-ish swords, so probably
Yeah,
foils, I was presuming, but they would
yeah,
have to be real swords, really. So you couldn't be messing around. You'd be like, I'm not sleeping in on this one. I'm getting up and doing work on the
yeah,
choreography. I don't want to get that wrong. But yeah, and it starts off straight away. I thought the interjection of Columbo and Wonder Years was just the right amount. It's not
yeah,
often. It's not too much. It's only, and you almost forget about them until all of a sudden it's like the record sort of stops like and then they sort of interject, and you're like, oh yeah, these guys are telling the story, aren't they?
Well, and especially on the first cut. So I watched it with my daughter, and she
Yeah,
managed. She lasted until the torture scene, and then that was a bit
yeah,
much. But then she came back
she got
in,
'em out.
towards the end.
Yeah,
But funnily enough, when we started watching it, as soon as they started kissing, Wesley and Buttercup at the end, she said,
yeah.
"Oh no, is this going to be too lovey?" Literally, like 2 seconds before, then Fred Savage said exactly the same thing. So they got that
Oh,
timing
amazing.
absolutely perfect. I love it.
Yeah. That is so good. And the fact that she's basically said exactly the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
They must have like followed around some like kids of that age and gone, so if two people were kissing in front of you, what would you say?
How long can we go?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Was there anything that you did particularly didn't like? I didn't really, the only for me, there was a couple of bits with Andre the Giant. It was difficult to understand some of his lines. But
Ah,
other than
yeah.
that, there
Yeah,
wasn't
I don't
much I
know.
didn't find.
I like it. I think there's also a couple of bits that he's really good in. Like when he's left
Yeah.
Wesley in the corridor to then go and
Oh,
break down the
yeah.
door, and then he comes back and
Yeah.
he's just like,
Yeah.
where is he? Where's he
Yeah.
gone? I think he's
Yeah.
really good in that scene.
Oh no, yeah, I think
Uh,
he was really good. I just there were some points I'm like, he had some great lines. And when
yeah,
I heard him, like the rhyming on the boat, his delivery
yeah,
was really good. His timing's actually really good. But there was some
yeah,
I just couldn't understand. So I'm like, oh, I'm sure these are really good lines. I can't quite understand them. And maybe also because it's an older film, the audio might not have been quite as good. But
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
was stretching to try and find something I didn't really like. That was the only sort of thing I could
Yeah,
think of.
the rhyming is
Oh,
much more in the book as well.
yeah, yeah.
That's how they have him like know where he's supposed to go if it all goes wrong, and like how he finds sort of Inigo
Right.
again. Is there's much more of like they make rhymes to for him basically to sort of have all of the information, and it's a much
Right. Okay.
I did notice that was because I didn't remember that they had included it in the film at all. But
Yeah.
no, it's
Yeah.
much bigger.
That was good.
No,
And then
the only thing that for me that was actually quite interesting was the picture quality didn't like in the transfer that I had on the streaming didn't it was a bit grainy
yeah,
at
yeah.
points like
Yeah.
technically up until like Inigo has the sword and it's like the shot of him and he's like asking for his father to guide the sword. Clearly, they
Yeah.
just remastered that scene for the stream because that was absolutely perfect. And so it looked so different to the
1080p,
rest of the
yeah.
film. I was like, oh, where's this
Yeah.
been the
Yeah.
entire time? So maybe
What
they
you
did
mean?
that just to just to make it
You mean
even more effective.
the men in the rat suits? You didn't think they looked they weren't popping out with color? The rodents of unusual size.
Yeah, my daughter said when that happened, she said, I don't think they will. And you could tell she was saying it in that way of like, please agree
Yeah.
with me so that I'm not
Yeah.
scared that there's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
mice that big. I was like,
Do
no,
do they
I don't think
exist?
they will. She was like, okay, yeah, no, that's good. That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
That's what
Um,
I was thinking. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
the whole Miracle Max thing, obviously,
mm, yeah.
I don't know. I just
Strange scene.
like, and again, when you sort of read the books, you listen to the podcast, everyone's like, "Oh, Billy Crystal is so funny. He's so this." I'm never been a
It's a
massive
very
fan. I
short
don't
scene.
really, I don't really say, and I don't, I'm not sort of laughing out loud.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, like
he's
with it.
good, but yeah, it's a short scene. It's not like he's doing a stand-up,
Yeah,
entire story. Like he's good enough, but yeah, he's no. Yeah, I only really paid more attention to that because I was like, oh, this is the Billy Crystal scene.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's just a scene really that they give you like a chocolate covered nut. Really, that was the main
yeah,
thing that I
yeah.
sort of took away from that.
Yeah, the
So
MLT that was actually funny. The mutton, lettuce, and tomato sort of
yeah, that
sandwich.
was good.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think because that sort of apparently he sort of ad-libbed and like was
Oh yeah.
making everyone laugh on the set and stuff like that, and I was a bit like, really, is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. Yeah, it was okay, the
And
scene. I didn't but the thing is, I think if it had been too big, it would take away like the whole point is they're
yeah,
just
yeah,
going there for a little. Otherwise, I think that would become more like a Monty Python sort of Life of Brian thing, where it's a completely you're pulled away from the story totally to something completely different.
Yeah,
And this film doesn't do that. Like it takes the story along the whole way, right? You just, like I said, you follow it from stage to stage. So I think that just would have been weird. You'd been like, well, it would have felt strange in there because you'd been like, why are we getting pulled away from the story so much? Why are we getting
yeah,
so
yeah,
much Billy Crystal? It's a bit weird. So no, I thought it was the right amount. I mean, any more than that, I would definitely be wondering what the hell they were doing. It's bad enough that
yeah,
he's already, what is it, partially dead or mostly dead? And
yeah.
like, how's he gonna
It's
get
been
back?
mostly dead. Mostly dead. I could do something
Yeah,
with. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, it's just
yeah,
that's the thing, isn't it? It's just all the way through. It's just so, yeah, it's just so, it is like a fairy tale. Even like,
yeah,
thinking back to when you were a kid and you're a nice grandfather coming and reading you a story and that making you feel better.
yeah,
That in itself is a
yeah,
fairy tale. You're like, oh,
yeah,
that would be so great. I wonder like
yeah.
if
I
you
even
could
said that,
watch
yeah.
it every 10 years and like you would
Yeah,
just get like different meaning after different meaning. I think it's because you could
yeah,
watch it and
maybe.
just enjoy the fairy tale bit, and then I think you would start
Yeah,
to get sort of some of the humor because it's not really a kids movie,
no,
because I do think there is sort of layers to it. So I think, yeah, it would be
yeah,
sort of an interesting one to like revisit every
yeah.
now and again, where you sort of, yeah, you go from
All
sort of
right.
thinking it's corny to, yeah,
Yeah.
to go, yeah. So we'll slot it in for
Well,
season 7,
yeah, I was
for
gonna
the
say we'll do a
rewatch.
bonus pod. Yeah, every 10 years we'll bring out the we'll bring this out, we'll see if it moves up or down your list. Um yeah, was there anything you particularly noticed that was new this time? I mean, it sounded like you've watched it a few times anyway, so you're probably a bit au fait with it anyhow, but anything
Yeah,
new
no,
that
I
you
mean,
noticed?
yeah, the background in Fred Savage's bedroom. That yeah,
Yes.
there was tons of stuff in there. I saw,
Oh,
yeah, I was like, yeah, I took a bit more notice of the background, all the toys,
yeah.
having
The
a
He-Man
picture of the
toys.
fridge. Yeah, yeah, Battle Cat,
Yeah.
Skeletor, Grizzler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously like playing the Commodore
Oh,
64 to begin with, the little
yeah.
Captain America toy. Yeah, no, that was great actually.
Yeah.
I was kind of enjoying that in itself is like a picture of a 1980s
Yeah.
yeah, kid's
Yeah.
bedroom, which I
Kids'
think is,
bedroom. Yeah.
yeah, is so good now. It like just, yeah, stands
Yeah.
up so well and is so accurate into a lot of the toys and stuff, which is, yeah, great to see.
Yeah. Did you immediately go onto eBay and try and buy some of the toys and the merchandise that you
I used to
saw?
have I had my Battle Cat for quite a long time, and yeah, I think I got
Oh,
got got rid of it at some stage. But
yeah.
yeah, there was
That
some.
was one of the saddest things, I think. I used to have loads of He-Man toys, and when my parents were moving from their from our childhood home, them downsizing, um I had to just get rid of some stuff because they were moving, and I was like, oh, I just don't know what I'm going to do with all this, so I just gave it all away to someone else. I mean, I guess did give it to another family, so I paid it forward. But then afterwards, I was like, oh, maybe I should have kept all that, and it probably is worth a lot of money as well.
Yeah, they sold them all on eBay.
Yeah, I like now, like, I recognize this person. Why am I buying this for like
Yeah,
so much money? Yeah.
you've since
Yeah.
bought them all back, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, with anything that, yeah, that I mean, you didn't have a great memory of it, but
No.
anything new?
The inconceivable. I don't remember that coming up so many
No,
times. And
really,
obviously it's there
it's a
so many
classic.
times. It's an obvious gag that
Yeah,
they throw it down your throat. And I was like, I don't remember that at all. And that was brilliant. And then just the way eventually the guy's like, I don't think you're using that the right way.
I don't think that means what you think it means. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
really good. And just the way that's all set up, that is almost like I was trying to think what it was, the way that he was talking to him on the boat, and he's like, I think there might be someone following us. And he's like, that's inconceivable. And I was just like, it's like it is almost like, I guess, I don't know, maybe it is a fairy tale where it's such a clever, funny way that they constructed that part of the story.
yeah,
That I love that. Like, and you're like, well, obviously that we now know there is someone following them. It's
yeah,
obvious, but they just take you down this journey going, well, don't be silly. It's almost like the like a panto when it's like, he's
yeah, a little bit.
behind
Yeah, yeah,
you.
yeah. That's,
Uh,
yeah, that's why I think, like, yeah, when I say about sort of Rocky Horror and yeah, like people sort
yeah,
of,
you're
yeah,
right.
sort of doing all the lines and stuff. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why it's so, yeah, so fun. Because they
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, they do. I would say, yeah, the Prince Humperdinck is clearly the character in
Yeah.
Shrek
foie
the
gras.
short. Yeah. You can
Yeah,
see that that's clearly had a big
yeah.
influence on that.
Yeah, even to the fact that he's wearing exactly the same colors and exactly the same outfit. I mean, Shrek did not, but they were just like, we're making it the same. We're like literally
Yeah.
doing the same guy. We're not even going to make it. We're going to make it very obvious that this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
Homage, we'll call, rather than
Yeah.
stealing. I'm sure they did it with a lot
Oh,
of love. So
yeah, exactly. It would have been. I'm sure they were huge fans of this, and yeah, they wanted to put in like little nods to it, which is always great. I think that's always good. It's always nice to have, like you said, these nice homages that take you back. Was there anything that you thought that dated it? Obviously, you talked about the actual quality of the film, like the pixelation, but yeah, anything. I mean, obviously, it's supposed to be set in a olden times, but
yeah, I think olden
yeah,
times and in the 80s. I think
mm,
it's very of its time, isn't it?
yeah,
And yeah, like I
yeah,
don't know. I think that's where sort of the charm comes in as well, isn't it? Is I don't think sort of
yeah,
having the rodents of unusual size be like all
yeah,
CGI and realistic. That's kind of not the point, is it? So it's
yeah,
supposed to be like a little bit sort of cheesy and a little bit sort of
yeah,
funny. It's not supposed to be completely polished. I think
yeah.
otherwise it just wouldn't really work.
Yeah. And I guess that's the thing, like, a real life example, and you're saying like when, your daughter would probably watching it, if they're too realistic, then it makes it scary for kids. And it's like, well, that's the whole point. It's just supposed to be a fun fairy tale that everyone, family can hold, everyone can watch. So
Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to make it too realistic because then it's like, I mean, obviously she thought they were potentially realistic enough, of which they weren't. So um so yeah, definitely another layer away from that would have been too close.
Yeah, exactly.
Had
Yeah. Although it's still when when Inigo's getting stabbed, it's a
Yeah,
bit graphic
yeah.
as well. Like to be fair, when she started sort of hiding a bit behind me for that bit, and she's
Yeah,
like, "Oh, he's had a knife thrown into him." I was like, "Yeah," but I had to keep saying, "But remember, it's a fairy tale, so like he'll be
yeah,
okay." And then like the
yeah,
actually when he kept saying, "My name is Inigo, my father, my
yeah,
father prepared to die," like then she kind of. It was
yeah, she
because of
got
the
it.
repetition. She got it, and she was
Yeah.
like afterwards. She was like saying the line,
Oh yeah,
and stuff
nice.
before cartwheeling. So
Yeah.
no, that was sort
Oh,
of
nice.
that was very sweet. And
Yeah.
actually,
And it's
Andre the
classic.
Giant was her favorite character. So
Yeah,
she
yeah.
liked
He
Fezzik
did.
more than everyone else.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Right.
He does have a good, lot of good lines, and like I said, his timing was very, very good.
Yeah.
And it was you're right. It was a classic fairy tale, isn't it? He's like gets stabbed, and he's like on the floor, and he's like, "I'm dying." And then somehow he's not only does he get enough strength to kill the guy who killed his father, but then he starts running up the stairs. Then he's okay again. He jumps out of a window onto a horse. And you're like, "Do you need to go to the hospital?" No, I think I'm all right now. It's kind of just congealed.
I was just pressing it for a
Uh,
little while, and it's fine.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's
yeah,
that's why it's so good. What did you have
yeah,
for the aliens then? How are you gonna describe it?
yeah. Well, I had, and I've just presumed that having gone through your list and listened to all your podcasts, they know the kind of things that you like. So they would already see, they'll know all of these things. So I just put, it's a swashbuckling adventure is told by Columbo to the Wonder Years. Um,
Nice, nice.
I just expect that they'll be, yeah, I know what all that means because these are all
Yeah,
the things that Andy likes. So yeah,
they've already got a background of all social references from the
yeah,
80s, so it'll be fine.
yeah. What about you?
I went for in the course of true love, the man in black helps Inigo Montoya get revenge on the man who killed his father. Also, there's a giant.
Of which there is, yeah. It's
Yeah,
quite
let's
fun, isn't it?
go.
Actually, you're right. Because you're right, I didn't even think about that. It is obviously a fairy tale, and then you do actually have a real life giant in it. It's actually,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
He
nice.
is large. There's a couple of bits, especially when they're up on the
Yeah.
fortress
Oh,
when Wesley's just coming back to life. He just looks
yeah.
huge.
Mm.
He's very
When
large man.
he grabs the princess as well at the start, and you see his hand, and you're like, Jesus, his
Yeah,
hand's nearly as big as her head.
yeah.
It's like huge. And they have to sort of, you see it sort of cut together, like where it's like his hand comes in, and then the next scene is it's right near a head because they're like, we're gonna have to do this gently because otherwise he might crush you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah. When he like
yeah,
catches them all and stuff, he's yeah,
yeah.
he was a big lad.
Uh, he is very well, was a big lad, right? Sadly, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Was there any questions you thought that it asked or answered?
I mean, I think it's asking, is there anything more powerful than true love? And I think
Yeah,
obviously, like, yeah, that's
yeah,
the message in the story. If you, yeah,
yeah,
if you want to be cynical about it or not, it's
yeah.
yeah.
I
The
think I can
fact is,
answer
it's
that with something else in the film. So
okay.
well, can chocolate bring you back from the dead? That's the so is
I mean,
chocolate
as
more
long as
powerful than true love?
I mean, but true love was, yeah, was what was pressed out of him when they put the air in his lungs.
Yeah.
Liar, liar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, I think it's
Yeah.
just, yeah. I also just had, yeah, creativity. It's a hell of a drug because it's just so
Yeah.
creative, like all the way through. I think, like the way that
Yeah.
they chewed it all and like, yeah,
Yeah.
they again because you just you watch it with a smile on your face and it is sort of it is a bit campy or it is a bit sort of
Yeah.
yeah like a panto but at the same time
Yeah.
it is
Oh
the
no,
story
it's
is
not. I mean, if you're gonna set that
nice.
up, I mean, it's gonna happen.
I think we've just lost half of our subscribers.
Well, we've gone down to four.
But like
Dear.
but that's the thing but they like as far as a classic story is concerned it's exactly as you say like
Yeah.
they hit all of the marks and yeah like they
Yeah.
do have actually like yeah it is sort of tense at the end and you don't know what's going to
Yeah.
happen and stuff like that and so it's
Yeah.
just so well put together
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I honestly think this is better than it was definitely better than I remember it, and I think it must be better than the yeah I think it's probably better than like my experience now than the first time I watched it. So that
Yeah.
comes back to your point of like watching it every 10 years. I've now got a better, greater appreciation for it now than I would have had 10 years ago. So yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. So I thought it was good. Was there any genre you thought you could potentially change it to though, other than panto?
I mean, yeah, it's just the only thing I do is maybe at the start you see Fred Savage's dad get murdered and he has to work with his
Oh.
grandfather to work out who did it. That's just to have a full on
Classic
Columbo.
Columbo. You can't help yourself, can you?
Maybe just as the
When
first act, and then afterwards they celebrate by reading the story.
yeah, yeah. Now that we know who killed your dad, you can be happy, and we'll read a fairy
Yeah,
tale.
let's just sit down here and read the fairy tale.
Uh, yeah, well, I mean, I did actually think, which is probably not too far away from what you said. I thought it like a Tarantino film, which actually probably is the same sort of thing. So,
That
but
would be brilliant.
I could just see Tarantino, taking this film on. Do you know what I mean? And having like these iconic sort of scenes. I can see it as a film now, but with all the links and homages to the original. So I felt like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could, yeah.
I
Hopefully, that
think
might be his last film. Who knows?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could say if Tarantino did the sort of the actual like fantasy bit, but then Wes Anderson did the
Oh,
like
wow.
son and the boy and grandfather bits. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that would be
okay.
like that would be an
What a winner.
amazing way to do
I'm gonna put it together. We'll start pitching it to Warner Brothers next week.
it.
There we go. Was there
You
any
just don't see a lot of sword fighting these days, do you? Like, I think that just in
no.
the movies generally, you
Yeah.
need more sword fighting. I think
They
everyone
did.
loves a good sword fight.
I guess they have sort of like a dagger fight in Dune 2 or Dune 2, which I thought was
Yeah,
pretty well choreographed. I
yeah,
thought that was a good scene.
yeah,
But yeah, it's not full on swords, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, wasted. Yeah, but bring them back. Bring back the swords. Um,
They're way more
any good
powerful
luck?
than guns. Didn't we
Yeah.
convince the aliens of that for one movie? I can't remember which one it
Yeah,
was, but
it's not Shogun. What's it called?
yeah, Jimbo.
Was Jimbo. Yeah, yeah. Where the guy's got the gun. How does he not take everyone out? He's got a gun. Anyhow, that's for another pod.
He's
Any good
zigzags.
line?
That's the same with
There was
crocodiles.
yeah, exactly. It's like that's where Neo learned all his moves. It was
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There were some
Uh,
absolutely great lines in this, right?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
There's, I mean, so many of them are just classic lines.
yeah. What were your favorites?
I mean, just some of them. Again, I like the bit where he's coming back to life. That still does just make me laugh. It's like heads
Yeah.
lolling all over the place. I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
funny when he's
He
asking
acts
what.
so well, doesn't he, in that bit?
Yeah,
Like you really
yeah,
believe like he is like limp and he's only slowly
yeah,
getting everything back together. Yeah.
yeah. And I do think it's funny when he's like, "Well, list our assets," and he's like, "Well, your brains, my blade, and physics
Yeah.
strength." He's like, "Oh, I mean, if only we had a wheelbarrow." And he's like, "Oh yeah, we do have a wheelbarrow." He's like, "Oh, well, why didn't you list that in our assets?" And I think that's quite funny.
That was a
And
great
again
line,
from
though.
that bit as well, where they says, "Well, you've been mostly dead all day," and he's like, he's trying to
Yeah.
come back. And then yeah,
Yeah.
people in masks can't be trusted. I think that's
Yes. Yeah.
that's good. It's
I
a good
had
line.
that. Yeah, that was good. Like, yeah, you be careful. People in masks can't be trusted. Yeah, that was good. There was so many good lines, weren't there? Oh, what else
Yeah,
did I have? We'll never survive nonsense. You're only saying that because no one ever has. That was when they go in through the
yeah. The
forest.
fire swamp. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We'll kill each other like civilized people, which is just obviously like an oxymoron. But
Yeah, and it feeds
yeah,
into oh, you're really good. I'll hate to kill you, and he's like, well, you're also really good. I'd hate to die.
yeah, yeah. There was some really good lines in this. I think I'm going to watch it again, within the next couple of months. Actually,
Yeah,
I probably missed some of the lines as well, so I did really enjoy it.
yeah.
Um,
Was there a character that you particularly identified with?
I like the two. I think the two sword fighters are good. They're all really good. Andre the Giant's really fun as well.
Who would you
Yeah,
be? Yeah,
no,
you always go for a main character. So if you were to choose one, would you
yeah.
rather be Wesley or Inigo if you had to?
Uh, Wesley, I think. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that would be my choice. What about you? You more Indigo?
As always, I go left field. I just really like the old
You're going to
woman who
say rat
says,
number three. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I am also of unusual size. No, in the dream, I love the woman who's booing. I just think it's so funny when it's like, here is your queen, and she's like,
yes,
boo,
yeah,
boo, you had true
yeah,
love, boo. I think just
yeah.
generally booing should be
Should
more
be
of a
brought
thing.
back in.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
in a business meeting or something, you should
yeah.
if someone says something wrong, you should just be able to say boo,
Yeah,
boo.
just put that forward. Yeah,
Yeah.
take in a virtual meeting, take yourself off mute and just
Just stop
add in some
booing
booze.
someone.
Yeah, until they
Just
stop talking.
further in the
Yeah.
podcast, you might maybe when
Yeah.
my brother's back and he makes an unpopular
Oh,
decision, I'm just going to start
oh,
booing him, and it'll be that. That'll be
yes. You should do that when we have the next podcast that he's on. Like, as a big one coming up, I think you should start doing
just
that.
stop booing him.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
That was good.
reviews. So there were 11,000
Yes.
reviews on Amazon for this film. I think
Oh,
more reviews than any
beautiful.
other film that
As
we've
they should
had.
be. Yeah.
And as you'd imagine, basically all of the 3-star reviews were a bit like, what? What? But there's some
Yeah.
classic lines in there. One of them, it is okay, and Columbo is in it, so my wife is happy. I didn't
Good,
I didn't
good.
know that Columbo was such
Yeah, yeah.
was so
Are
popular with the
you
ladies.
are you his wife?
That was actually that was given by my husband. That's
Yeah.
bit meta.
Yeah.
Another one again because obviously it's a family movie. I forced my wife to watch it with me, and she was like, "What is this?" It was a little bit embarrassing, to be honest. Oh,
What? That's
that's a bit
weird.
sad.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've only just got married. One would imagine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas really, if they'd been married for longer, they'd be happy that there was something on and they didn't have to talk to each other. Is that that's what you mean?
They were both on their phones anyway. So,
Yeah,
and
true.
then
Yeah.
I think arguably the greatest 3-star review we've had so far. Brace
Oh,
yourself for
drum roll.
this. Yeah, it's a high bar, but this is great.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it begins.
Okay.
Well,
Yes.
when I received this product in the mail, I set the box on my desk and left the room to get my razor so I could open it faster. Well, when I went back to my desk,
Okay.
it was gone. No one had been in the room in that time frame. I checked around
What?
to see if it maybe had fallen off or something. Nope, just gone, out of existence.
What?
3 stars.
Which is fair because you can't give it 1, you can't give it 5, but probably don't review it. But
That is this. I mean, if a DVD is simply blinked out of existence, you want to tell someone, and
yeah.
clearly the Amazon
Hold
reviews
on.
is the place to do it.
I think I've worked this out. I think we've just gone meta on meta. Have the aliens already listened to this podcast and they went back in time, stole that copy of the DVD, and then are watching it? And that's where this has all come full circle to us then doing the review about it.
Maybe,
And
maybe.
they're in the UFO, like high-fiving each other, going, "Yeah, that's us. We've made it to the pod."
We not didn't even make it to Interstellar, and we're already in 5 dimensions.
Yeah, we got in the Princess Bride. It's my favorite
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
that was brilliant. I mean,
Mm.
imagine just to put yourself in that person's like
Mm.
shoes. So you think
Well,
that something has literally just disappeared with no
yeah,
explanation, and you
yeah,
still go onto Amazon and leave a review. I think
yeah,
you'd be
yeah,
surely you'd be doing. I don't know. You'd try and get an Oprah. You'd try and be like, you'd test it with different
yeah.
things. You'd leave things in
Yeah,
there and then disappear. I wonder what happened. Oh, maybe that's a pitch for like a sequel or something, or for a movie.
yeah.
I don't know. It's just
I
who
mean,
knows.
yeah, I think my worry started when he said, I went to get a razor. I was
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yes.
Maybe this
Yeah.
person is losing it a little bit. You don't have scissors? That's not a better
Yeah.
option.
A,
Or,
a razor is a very specific tool to open a DVD with.
yeah.
Yes, it does have to
And
say.
also use the razor because it would be quicker, which I'm not really sure that would be quicker, but that also meant that there was less time for the DVD to disappear. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. The
But
mystery continues. We'll
very,
update
very
you
bizarre.
every week on this audience and let you know how we're
I bet
going.
I did click on his
True crimes.
his link on Amazon, and there were a
Uh,
whole bunch of normal reviews on there as well. So it wasn't like
mm,
it had this review for every single thing. So
yeah,
that's a bit bizarre. And
yeah.
then I think maybe the worst 3 star review, the most
Oh, yeah.
humble brags ever. Somehow it didn't work for me. It was okay since I've seen it. I've had a Twitter conversation with my followers. I'm definitely in a
Oh,
minority of one. They all love it. Yeah, shut up.
oh
Shut up with your
dear.
followers.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you just
Oh,
say like,
you're an influencer. Oh, good. That's not a job.
yeah,
Go away.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah.
don't
But that being
yeah.
said, if anyone wants to follow
Yeah, like
this
and follow.
podcast or sponsor it, yeah, please do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
What
whatever.
did you have for the algo?
Now this one was a little bit difficult because I didn't
Yeah,
want to just go for like a pirate type film because you could easily go
elaborate.
like say Pirates of the Caribbean. So I try to stay away from that. I think I've got one that's actually pretty nailed on and it's very modern, which often we don't normally have like a disparity, I think, between what we're looking at necessarily with such a large amount of year gap. So anyway, so I sort of thought maybe sort of Monty Python, maybe sort of Labyrinth. I was like, sort of there, but they didn't feel right. But then I thought Dungeons and Dragons, the new one, Honor Amongst Thieves. And I was like, I feel like that's actually very similar. It's an adventure, it's tongue in cheek. So that's what I'm going with. Dungeons and Dragons.
I haven't
Thoughts?
seen Dungeons and Dragons because I
Mm.
had it as rubbish. But
It's actually all right.
the algo did have that. Did have
No,
Dungeons and
really.
Dragons. Did have
Ah,
Pirates of the
virtual high
Caribbean.
five with the the algo.
Yeah, and did
Yeah.
actually have Stardust as the number one. Have you ever seen Stardust? The Neil
I don't
Gaiman
know.
movie with Michelle
Yeah.
Pfeiffer and
Mm.
Stardust is
Is that
bang
nailed on?
on. Yeah, bang on
Yeah.
the money. And even with Pirates of the
Yeah.
Caribbean,
Okay.
because I think the thing with Pirates of the Caribbean is what I love about it, and maybe we'll discuss it in more details in the coming weeks. But like right at
Yeah.
the start, it like
Ooh.
establishes what type of film it's going to be, which is a bit silly
Yeah.
and like don't take this. When
Yeah.
his boat's sinking and he like it sinks and he steps
Yeah.
onto the dock
Steps off.
just as it
Yeah.
sinks, you're just like,
Yeah.
okay. we know what
Yeah.
type of movie this is going to be. And I think this
Yeah.
film is exactly the same. It starts
Yeah.
off in the kid's bedroom, but then, as you say,
Yeah.
and as my daughter said as well, it gets straight to the love story and like, you know, what it
Yeah.
is, and then it kind of goes back and forth. So like I think it
Mm.
announces itself and sort of sets itself up
Yeah.
very well. So I do
Yeah.
think that with Stardust as well, which funnily enough almost made it onto the
Wow.
list. I do really like Stardust. It's a really,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's very similar, and yeah, it's a really good
Yeah.
movie.
Well, there
Yeah,
you go.
I think that's a
That's
clawback for
yeah.
the algo for the
Ended our
AI.
streak.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So what are the scores on the doors?
That's 21-15. You know, and
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, just the way it
Still
seems to
healthy
happen,
gap.
they tend to go on the algos tends to go on a run. It's
Yeah. Well,
yeah, it tends to
we'll have
be
to
like
call a
either
timeout.
us.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, ad break so that the
Yeah.
algo doesn't come back into it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So it's number 63 on the list at present. Is it going to stay there? Moving up, moving down? What's the plan?
Yeah, so I think it will shuffle down a little bit
Oh,
more. Still not
okay.
a you know not
Not
saying
too
that I don't
far.
like it because yeah, I do really like it. I
Yeah.
think I'm going to put it in at 66, which is the
Yeah.
one below Clueless because I think I just
Okay.
about enjoy Clueless more, but it is very
Yeah.
close. So
Yeah.
yeah, just sort of slot it back into 66, which as we spoke about when we had the episode 66, 66 is
Yeah.
just one of those numbers. So I think it's also a
Yeah.
good film to be in at 66. So
Yeah. And I think that's a good double header. You could easily watch this and Clueless together. That would be a
oh
great
yeah,
little, yeah, like a hungover or like a chilled Sunday, rainy afternoon. These two together
yeah,
would be perfect.
be very very
Yeah.
meta. How about you? Where did you put it in?
I had it firmly in the good section.
Nice.
I had it at number 7 of 38, so
Okay.
just below the lunchbox and just above Iron Man 3. So
Okay.
yeah, I was just
Nice.
thinking, yeah, I did enjoy this a little bit more than Iron Man 3 was very good. And I do enjoy it, but yeah, just slotted in between those two.
Nice. Nice. So
Yeah,
another good watch and one yeah, bringing back your
yeah,
childhood yeah.
yeah. I'm getting worried. I feel like now there must be some kind of run of horrificness coming up. So it's been too good. I don't want to rest on my laurels because I know I'll then get caught out, and I'm like, no,
Well,
it's a
some
trilogy of Andy films.
some big movies coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah, some
nice.
big movies that I think yeah. I think funnily enough over the next sort of 3 or 4 weeks, I think there's a big movie that I know you love, a little movie that I know you love, and then I think
Yeah.
two movies that you've not seen. So
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
Okay.
go into a good one. But yeah,
Mm.
for next week. Yeah, no quotes. Just informing everyone that we formed the fellowship, and we will go on a little walk,
Oh,
and
okay.
you know maybe
What
one does
on
not
earth could
simply
it be?
walk into
Yeah.
Mordor, but
Yeah. I do walk a lot more now, so I feel like I could be ready for this. Yeah.
there we go. There we go. Well, yeah, it's yeah, it'll be a big. I mean, you know, we need to have more than me and you. Not, you know,
Yeah.
we're no Frodo and Sam, so we
No.
need to form
No.
the fellowship. Otherwise, we're just you know Aragorn and Legolas. Surely that's who we are. We're just nowhere
Yeah.
near as cool as that. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I'll have to work out which one I'm going to be. I'll have to, yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, you get
Yeah,
see
it'll be
which one
good.
you want to dress up as. Great. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
thanks to
for the
Tom
pod.
Evans
Yeah.
for the theme song as ever. You can find us on Instagram and long play video. If you are on Spotify, please leave us a 3-star review. We've noticed that there's a few people who are leaving us 5-star reviews, and you're not getting the point of the
Uh,
podcast if you're doing that. So
yeah.
please, we want to see some 3-star reviews come down. We want to average at a 3-star because we know
Well,
that's the best number of stars.
what about if they give us a 3-star review, but then they title it, give us a 5-star review, but title it 3-star review, just to
Yeah.
completely mess with everyone's head?
We're
Yeah.
starting to
It's
get
like, this
meta.
doesn't make sense.
Why
Yeah.
do they want 3-star reviews? Yeah, and we'll see you in the shop next week.